Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll be right back with today's guest, but we want to give a shout out to our podcast partners, Vital Signs Wall of Fame, We Coach, the global community of women in high school sports, and the Florida Coaches Coalition. These are all great organizations. You should add them to your network. And now, hey, don't hit that fast forward button. Stay with us for the next 3 minutes. We're going to give our sponsors their shout out. These are all great companies that I used as an athletic director or as a coach. You should be using them too. Here we go. We want to say thanks to Gipper for their support. Gipper is the official social media graphics solution for the podcast. And if you go to Gipper.com, their team is going to show you how to create world-class marketing content for your school's social media channel. Kids are on social media today, and if you're not, you're really missing out. Go to Gipper.com. It's so easy, even I can do it. Promote your team, celebrate your athletes. That's Gipper.com. We also want to thank Home Campus for their support. Home Campus is the exclusive high school and state association management platform for us. It's also your one-stop platform for scheduling, student-athlete eligibility and clearance, coach management, and a whole lot more. As an AD, I used Home Campus every single day, and it was just fantastic. And the Home Campus team was great to work with. To find out more about how you can become a part of the Home Campus team, just go to homecampus.com. That's homecampus.com. We also want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame for their support. Go to their website and check out their interactive touchscreen video consoles. It's a great way to showcase your school record boards for all the teams, for all the sports, or your school's Hall of Fame, or just celebrate your school's diverse history and your proudest moments. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com for more information. Vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to thank Huddle for their support. Go to huddle.com and change the way you see the game. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure our school was a Huddle school, and our coaches just loved the tools that Huddle provided that helped them coach our kids up to their highest level. Go to huddle.com. See why we believe in sports and teams believe in Huddle. Join the 8 million users. Turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to thank Sideline Interactive. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and schedule a live web demo. See their scoreboards and their score tables in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Check out their great products. That's sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com. They're going to show you how to set up and sell tickets for all your events, but they're also going to provide you with a dedicated client success manager that'll give you hands-on support every step of the way. Hometown Ticketing is digital ticketing that offers more. Go to hometownticketing.com for more information. We want to say thanks to Snap Mobile for their support. Go to snapraise.com and check out their entire suite of platforms designed to help you do your job better. If you're looking for a fundraiser, stop right here. SnapRaise is hands down the best fundraising platform out there. But there's so much more. You've got Snap Manage, Snap Store, Snap Connect. You'll find them all at snapraise.com. That's snapraise.com. And we want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack. If you're not using a survey to take the pulse of your parents and your student athletes, you're really missing out. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that'll connect you with, we all hear from the gripers, the complainers. That's really only about 2%. Athletic Surveys will connect you with the 2%, but they'll also connect you with the 98% that supports your program. And that's a tremendously valuable tool to have when you're talking with your principal, your school board, or a frustrated parent. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We do this every once in a while. We're going international. We're traveling all the way down to Brazil, And we're going to be visiting with Favia Mizukawa. She is the athletic director at the International School of, is it Curitiba?
Curitiba.
That's what I said, Curitiba in Brazil. We connected through the NIAAA portal. Thought she'd be a great guest, and we're excited to have her today. So, Favia, welcome to the Educational AD Podcast.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you.
I was going to say, I know it's a busy time for you, but let's go and jump right in. We always like to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So give us that quick bio, where you were born, where you grew up, maybe take us up through your own high school and college years, and then we'll take our first break and then come back and hear more about your early career. But what's your origin story?
All right. So I was born and raised in Curitiba, where the school is, southern Brazil. When I had to decide to go to college, I got into phys ed college, and I took it for 3 years here. And then I will talk to you about high school in a minute. Okay, let me just go with college first, and then I'll go back.
Sure.
So I did phys ed for 3 years in Brazil, and then my aunt and my uncle, they moved to the States, and then they invited me to live with them, finish college in the States, and that's how I end up in Evansville, Indiana, where I lived for 2 years. And then I finished my degree. So I transferred credits, and I finished my degree in I got a BA in exercise science. Now, the interesting part is that I end up being an AD and doing phys ed and related to sports, but my background in high school was completely without sports. I never had the opportunity to be part of the interscholastic athletics, like zero. I went to the gym, I took some swimming classes, but I was never part of this experience. And this is how I end up being an AD, I would say.
Well, again, your undergrad studies, prepped you for that, but there had to be some kind of interest there. I mean, why sports and athletics and not some other discipline for your study?
I love the events. I love organizing. I love being part of this different experiences. I in Brazil is a little bit different than the States. When you go to college, you have to choose your degree. You can start with the foundation of classes and then move on to your major or minor. So you have to choose your career on the first year when you're 17. And at that point, I was very adventurous, and I said, no, I want to join the sports area. I want to be a gym teacher. I want to be my first thought was I was working with cardiac rehab, to be honest. When I graduated, I was planning on working with cardiac rehab. And when I got to Brazil, my first job was as a teacher. So that's how I ended up in all this.
Let's go and stay on the sports angle. Now, again, you're in Brazil, born, raised, you spent a little time in the States, obviously, but sports internationally, sports in South America, a little bit different from sports in the States. Brazil is certainly known for soccer. You call it football, but are you a soccer fan, or are there other sports that have your eye and your heart?
Yeah, no, I like soccer better. I think my favorite sport would be soccer right now. I do cheer for a good and big team in Paraná. It's the state. I try to go sometimes to the stadium, but working during weekends is kind of hard. So I do follow more my students and trips and everything. So yeah, I try, but I can't.
Well, again, hopefully you'll have a break here and you'll be able to follow your teams. For our listeners, our guest today is Favia Mizukawa, and she is the Director of Athletics for the International School of Curitiba in Brazil. We're going to take our first break, but we're coming back with some more, so please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to thank Gipper for their support of the Educational AD Podcast. Gipper is the official social media graphics solution for us. And if you go to Gipper.com, their pros are going to show you how to create custom marketing content for your school's social media channel. It's so easy to do, even I can do it. Your students and your parents are on social media, and if you're not promoting your team, celebrating your athletes' accomplishments, you're really missing out. Go to Gipper.com. Start creating world-class content for your school's social media platform. That's Gipper.com. Hey, welcome back, everyone, to the Educational AD Podcast. Our guest, again, is from Brazil, Favia Mizukawa. Coach, you took us up through kind of your high school and college days. Share a little bit about your early career. Most of us start out teaching and coaching before we become an AD. What was your path like?
Yeah. I think, as I mentioned, when I left college, I was really looking forward to working with cardiopulmonary rehab. And right after I finished college, I came back to Brazil and started looking for jobs. And in Brazil, it's a little bit different. Cardiopulmonary rehab, it's not done by PE teachers, but for physical therapists. And I just started looking for jobs, and I got a job at a PE teacher, early childhood education PE teacher at the International School of Curitiba, where I have been for 19 years. And and after that, I started as PE teacher, part-time, early childhood, and then I have been elementary school teacher, middle school teacher, high school teacher, and then I ended up having being a health teacher, advisory coordinator, activities coordinator, and then I would say in 2010, I got to the role of assistant athletic director. And that's how I found my passion. And I was there just to support the AD, and I just fell in love with it.
Going from, teaching and coaching to what we call now the other side of the desk as an athletic director. And you had that opportunity to be an assistant AD, but how was that transition for you? Did you feel like, hey, I'm ready for this, I got it, not in a cocky way, but in a self-confident way? Or were there some moments where, am I really ready for this? What was your experience?
Yes, no, I think I had some questions, right? Because it is challenging. It is completely different. It's different than you're just there helping behind a desk where you have to make those decisions. So it was a little bit scary, but I thought I was ready for it. We are a school with 700 kids, 750 kids, and I thought it would be manageable, and so I thought I was ready for that.
Yeah. Now, for the international AD, you have some, I'm not going to say challenges, you have some tasks that really don't ever come across the desk of an athletic director here in the United States, particularly with travel and things like that. What's been one of the more challenging tasks that you've had to deal with as an AD? And, kind of walk us through how you met that challenge.
Ooh, yeah, so many. And you're right, traveling is a big thing, right? Especially in Brazil, when you have visas, different types of visas, different types of authorizations. There are specific types of authorizations, different ages. If you're staying in a hotel, it's so, the list doesn't, it's unbearable. It's a big list. We had once a kid who had all the authorizations, all the papers signed, everything correctly, and then they stopped this kid at the federal police, and this kid could not travel because of, I think it was the color of the paint that the parents signed the authorization was different than the data that they put. So the kid has to stay overnight with another teacher that stayed behind, and then the next day the parent had to do another authorization according to the guidelines, and the kid could go to the tournament. If I'm not mistaken, it was Uruguay.
Mm-hmm. Has there ever been any situations there, you're traveling, you're on the road, and somebody's lost a document or something like that, and now what do you do? Has that ever happened?
Oh yes, passports. They forget passports in the front pocket seat of the plane. We had a kid who forgot a phone. Thankfully, we do meet the people that we are in tournaments with frequently, so we can get those items back. But passport, I think passport was the biggest thing, and it only happened once where a kid actually forgot the passport in the pocket, and we had to go back. It was a mess. It took us like 2 hours to find the passport bag, but we thankfully did it.
Wow. And again, those are things that, we never have to deal with in the States. Usually the worst thing is, a kid forgot his cell phone or something like that. Let's go and talk about that. Are cell phones a challenge, an issue? Is it just not a big deal for you? What are your student athletes like in cell phones?
Oh, they carry their cell phones all over, right? I don't know how can they forget their cell phones, but sometimes it happens. It's not something that big of a deal. iPad, there was an iPad. It was a kid in middle school. She was in grade 6 once, and she lost her iPad in the school that we were visiting, and that was a big thing. We could not find the iPad. I don't know if she lost it in the school, in the airport. We had no idea, and we just end up losing it. I can't remember about back in time with the find my iPad and stuff like that. I don't even think that she could have it tracked.
Well, there's a good solution to that. Don't bring your iPad, right? Yeah,
Right.
that's what we
Yeah.
tell them. Crazy stuff. Kids, they're the same all over the world. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go and take another quick break again for our listeners. We're visiting today with Flavia Mizukawa. She's the director of athletics at the International School of Curitiba. I hope I'm pronouncing all that right, in Brazil. Let's take that break, but we'll be back with some more. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We also want to say thanks to Home Campus for their support. Home Campus is the exclusive high school and state association information management platform for us. It's also your one-stop platform for things like scheduling, student athlete eligibility and clearance, coach management, and a whole lot more. As an athletic director, I used Home Campus every single day, and it was just great. And the Home Campus staff was great to work with too. To find out all the things that Home Campus can do for you and your school, all you have to do is go to homecampus.com. That's homecampus.com. Make sure you check them out today. We also want to say thank you to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Go to their website, vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check out their interactive touchscreen video consoles. It's a great way to showcase your school record boards for all your teams, for all the events, or your school's Hall of Fame. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com, mention the podcast, you'll get a nice little discount. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. Hey, welcome back, everyone, to our visit with Flavia Mizukawa. She's the director of athletics at the International School of Curitiba in Brazil. Flavia, we are all, as athletic directors, we're all on a journey, either with in the United States, our state association, and hopefully with the NIAAA. You mentioned to me off camera that you've got something coming up with NIAAA, but share with our listeners your journey as an international athletic director with the NIAAA.
All right. So I've known about NIAAA since I would say 2015. In 2017 was my first conference in Phoenix. It was my very first conference, and at this conference, I took all the 500 courses, and it was amazing. It really not just the knowledge, the content, but also the networking that you get with everybody in the room. So it was amazing. And now I took this past semester, I took mine 900 level courses to take the CII test in December in the upcoming Orlando conference, which I'm looking forward to it. Very excited, actually.
Now, you mentioned that you took, the 500 level courses and you're getting ready to take the international exam. I've taken a couple of the, I think maybe 900 and 901 when I was a member of the certification committee. Um, what's your, I guess, perspective on the content of those courses, say 500 versus 900? Do the 500 courses, fit? Is it good stuff, or are they missing some things from an international standpoint?
No, I would say the 500, they're good basis for even for international, the part of the loss, even though they are not very specific with the country that we work for, it still give us an idea and a perspective of the things that we need to look forward in our own country, right? When we're looking about legislation. And the 900 courses, they're very specific for international educators. Most of the people attending, because I'm taking those online courses, I see my friends from the other international schools either teaching or being or taking those courses online. So it's very rich. The content is very appropriate. It's really the day by day of an international school setting. So yes, I strongly recommend.
Yeah, I remember it's kind of coming back to me when I took 900 901 at the main office in Indianapolis. And again, that was when I was part of the National Certification Committee. We had some international ADs that were teaching those almost in a pilot fashion. And some of the stuff, as a let's say a U.S. athletic director, you say, okay, that makes sense. That's organization, that's administration. But then the specifics, particularly when they got into travel and that sort of thing, we're just going, wow, this is cool that they have that opportunity for athletic directors like you to get to take it. So for our listeners, you just heard, Flavia is going to be attending the National Conference in Orlando coming up in December, just a short drive from my home base here in Florida. So we'll do this at the end of the podcast, but Flavia, if one of our listeners wanted to reach out and connect with you and add you to their network, and it sounds like you got a pretty good resource here, listeners, what's the best way that they could get a hold of you and start that connection?
I would say LinkedIn. I am on LinkedIn, right? And also you can reach out through my email. It's flavia.mizukawa@iscbrazil.com.
Okay. And for our NIAAA members, Flavia's information is on the NIAAA membership portal. So reach out, make that international connection, and make sure you say hi to Flavia at Orlando in December. We're going to take another quick break. I know that's shocking to our regular listeners, but we are coming back with more. So please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thanks to our friends at Huddle for their support of the podcast. Go to huddle.com and change the way you see the game. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, and it was just fantastic. But when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school, and our coaches just loved the tools that Huddle provided that helped them coach our kids up to their highest level. It was a professional grade solution for the challenges that we all face. At Huddle, we believe in sports, and teams believe in Huddle. Join the 8 million users. Go to huddle.com, turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and schedule a live web demo and see their tables and their scoreboards in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Of course, we used it for home games, but we also used it for pep rallies, for signing ceremonies. It's tremendously versatile, and their customer service is out of this world. Go to sidelineinteractive.com, schedule that live web demo today. That's sidelineinteractive.com. Hey, welcome back, everyone. Flavia, one of the things we try to do with this podcast is the idea of sharing best practices. So I'm going to put you on the spot. What are some things that you do at your school that you're particularly proud of, that you would consider a best practice?
Okay. I think our program here, it's very broad. we do, one of our mantras this year is to provide opportunities beyond classroom. And this is what we do for every single student, especially in middle and high school. We have an amazing variety of activities and leagues that we participate in. So we're part of a local league in Curitiba, in our city, that provides many sports competitions opportunities. We are part of ASB, which is an association in Brazil with the with American schools. And through ASB, we have 2 tournaments that we go to a camp twice a year, which is amazing. Kids from 6 to 12 grades can participate. Knowledge ball tournaments, MUN debate tournaments. So this is amazing. And some of these clubs that travels for this type of tournaments, they're student-led. So the students are the ones who organize and take initiative on those tournaments and trips. So it is amazing, especially debate. And the biggest league that we have here at ISC that we participate is the SAC League, the Southern American Activities Conference, which is with 7 different international schools in South America. And it's also another amazing league. We have STEM, tennis, cross country, track and field. We're hosting actually in November a cross country and a volleyball tournament here at ISC. So yeah, we're very proud of those leagues and opportunities.
Oh, no, absolutely. And I love the student-led initiatives. It's great to be able to give them those opportunities to kind of flex their leadership muscles. Um, Hosting an international tournament or event, it kind of blows my mind. We host, multi-state or events that have participants from multiple states, but doing something from other countries, what's a memory from one of those competitions? And it doesn't have to be a bad one; it can be a great one too. What's something that sticks out for you where it's a challenge, but you and your team, your coaches, your students, you really, to use a baseball phrase, hit it out of the park. Okay?
Whenever we're hosting something, especially for the SAC League, it's a ton of work because we do homestays for all the visiting athletes. So it's, for example, the volleyball tournament and cross country, we're going to host about 200 kids within our families. So I would say that this is the biggest challenge. It's pretty, but it's also fun. And I think the families also take this experience as amazing, right? Um, I would say what I take from this tournaments that we host is like the relationship that the families have after all, especially when they travel back to the country that we're hosting that kid and they visit those people out of the school context. So I think this is amazing. It's an amazing opportunity.
Oh yeah, those again, it comes back to the relationships.
Yeah.
The games are great, all that's great, but the relationships that you build, there's just nothing else like it. Okay, thanks for sharing that. Very cool.
I just received this Saturday one of our former students who is in Florida right now. He just sent me a picture of him and another kid that they participated in the tournament together here in Brazil. And then they met in college. So it was amazing.
Wow. Yeah. No. And again, that's why we do what we do, to get those little reminders. Very, very, very cool stuff. Once again, for our listeners, we're traveling to Brazil today, and our guest is Favia Mizukawa. She is the Director of Athletics at the International School of Curitiba, and that's in Brazil. We're going to take another break, but we've got more coming. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to thank Hometown Ticketing for their support of the podcast. Hometown Ticketing is the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and to colleges. And if you go to hometownticketing.com, their team is going to show you how to start selling your tickets online, not just to athletic events, but things like school plays, concerts, school dances, even graduation. And here's the best part. Every school is assigned a dedicated client success manager that provides hands-on support every step of the way. That's every step of the way. Hometown is digital ticketing that offers more support, more security, and more customization. Go to hometownticketing.com and get started today. We also want to say thank you to Snap Mobile. Go to snapraise.com. Check out their entire suite of platforms designed to help you do your job better. If you're looking for a fundraising platform, stop right here. SnapRaise is hands down the best fundraiser out there. They even have a program where they will give you your funding before you actually start your fundraiser. Nobody else offers that. But you've got Snap Connect, Snap Store, Snap Manage, and a whole lot more. You'll find it all at snapraise.com. That's snapraise.com. Hey, welcome back, everyone, to the Educational AD Podcast. Flavia, one of our long-standing topics has to do with this kind of an old school idea of toughness. When I was in high school 100 years ago, our coaches would say things like, come on, Jake, you got to be tougher, or come on, you got to suck it up. And I think we kind of knew what they meant and we did it. In the many years since I've been in high school, we've learned much better ways to communicate to kids and coach them. But I still think toughness is an important component of sports and for life. So here's my question for you. How can an athletic director or a leader help a Generation Z kid to develop toughness, but also be sensitive to the very real social emotional challenges that a Generation Z kid is experiencing that I never had to go through back when I was in high school? Do you have any advice for us?
Yes. No, yeah, I myself have a Gen Z at home, not me, my daughter. Yes, it is very tough, right? Times change. You can't deal and talk to kids as people used to do in the past, right? There's a lot of changes. But we do. I think the sport, there's nothing better than having a kid participating in sports and being part of the whole environment, the whole world that it is to be participating in sports, to win, to lose, to tie, to have the frustrations, right? And this is how you build up. This is how you teach the kids how to have this toughness. I was just recalling last year's volleyball tournament, and one of my principals were questioning but what are these kids learning in this tournament, right? And I had a volleyball team losing 2 games back to back, and then coming back for their third game and winning, right? So they had to have that toughness, the resilience to come back to after 2 losses, coming back, putting themselves together and winning a game. So I think the sports, this is the biggest the beauty of the sports, I think, I would say, for especially for Gen Z. Yeah, and the I would say that the challenge now is how can we bring all these kids to participating in those activities, right? We cannot get everybody, but how can we have the most number of kids enrolled and participating in interscholastic sports?
Now, I love your answer. Yeah, I really do. You know, toughness is still good. I love it. At your school, is there, and I know some private schools are like this, even here in the States, is there a requirement? Are students required to participate in at least one sport? Or do you find yourself and your coaches, having to reach out and recruit to get students to fill your teams? How does it work for you?
We do all of our sports here. We practice 3 main sports, which is soccer, volleyball, and basketball. In addition to those, we have cheerleading, cross country, track and field, tennis, swimming. We don't have a pool, we rent a pool. And we do not require kids to participate in any activity, but because of so many experiences and traveling experiences that we have, it's very popular. Right now I have almost 40 kids enrolled in middle school boys basketball, and I have to find a way to split this group for a second practice. So this is a challenge. It's just not, the kids are there. You just give them the opportunities and they will show up for it. It is a privilege to participate on those trips, and there is no requirement for kids to be in those activities.
Boy, having all those kids coming out for your team, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Trying to juggle and get them assigned to the right level. From your upper school or high school, I'm not sure which tag you guys use for the oldest kids. Do you compete for a local championship? Is there a region, what we would call a state championship? How does that work?
We don't do that. We're just part of a league in the city. And what we have is we have what is called Big Eight, which is our high school students. It's a league with 8 other international schools. And there's another league called ISSL, which is another 8 schools. And at the end of each season, they have the Final Four, which is the first two from each sport will compete on the Final Four. So that's what we aim for as well. And the SEC tournament, the South American one.
Oh, well, again, it sounds fascinating. I love to hear the different ways that schools, or in this case, countries, do their sports. This has been really cool. I've really enjoyed this. I wish we had some more time, but we're not done yet. We always wrap up with the athletic director's toolbox. Now, you've been doing this for a while. You're no stranger to the world of athletics. But in just a moment, I'm going to challenge you to send out a brand new athletic director on their very first job. But I'm only going to let you put 3 things in their toolbox. We're going to take our final break and hear from Athletic Surveys, who sponsor this segment. When we return, I'm going to ask Flavia to send out that new AD, and we're going to find out what she's going to put in her athletic director toolbox. So please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack for sponsoring the AD Toolbox segment. Athletic surveys are a quick, easy, and an affordable way for you to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your entire program. If you're not using a survey to take the pulse of your parents and your student athletes, you're really missing out. Athletic directors already hear back from the complainers, the 2% that want to gripe about everything. Athletic surveys will not only connect you to the 2%, they'll also connect you to the 98% that supports your program. And that's a tremendously valuable tool to have when you're visiting with that frustrated parent or your principal or your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Let them put together a custom survey just for you. Let you take your program from good to great. That's athleticsurveys.com. Well, it's that time of the podcast. We've been visiting today with Favia Mizukawa. She is the Director of Athletics for the International School of Curitiba in Brazil. Certainly knows her way around the world of athletics, but now I'm going to challenge her to send out a brand new AD on their very first job. I'm only going to let her put 3 things in the toolbox. So Flavia, what 3 items are going to go into your new athletic director toolbox?
All right. So I do have 3. And I would say number 1, you have to be organized. Organization, it's the most important thing in this job. Write everything down, have checklists, processes, use apps, whatever gets to be organizing and organize and have everything you need, so you can keep you can keep task. You can check out and make sure that you are accomplishing all the tasks that you have to do. That would be my first one. The second one, I would say your relationships with parents, with your colleagues, with your teachers, coaches, admin, your community. I think relationships are key into this job. Very important. So cultivate your relationships. And the last, but not the most important one, is every time that you are going through some, a stressful situation or something very challenging, don't forget that you're doing what you're doing for the kids, and that's it. Just go back to you're doing for the kids, and that's it.
You probably see me writing all this stuff down. Great, great advice. And all three of those are among our most frequently mentioned tools. So it's great to see there's some consistency around the world in great athletic departments. So very good stuff. Okay. I always love the idea of organization because you're right. If there's so many, I heard one AD use this term and I stole it immediately. Being an athletic director is like juggling flaming chainsaws. So
Oh yeah.
have that visual. Okay. Flavia,
And
thanks
even
so
if
much
you have,
for, oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
sorry, and even if you have all those checklists and you're sure you got them all there will still be things missing. So
That's right. So that fourth tool is being able to adjust quickly and be flexible. Good stuff. This has just been so much fun spending time with you. I'm so glad we were able to make a connection, and I'm glad we're going to be connecting in Orlando when you take the exam. One more time, if one of our listeners wants to reach out and add you to their connection network, what's the best way they can do that?
I am in the NIAAA community. I am also in LinkedIn, and I have my email, flavia.mizukawa@iscbrazil.com.
Okay. Again, Flavia, thanks so much for spending time with us. All the best with the coming fall seasons, or I guess in South America, would it be winter seasons? And definitely looking forward to seeing you in December.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a pleasure.
Right back at you. For our listeners, we do this just about every day, and we upload the Zoom recordings to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We appreciate you listening, of course. Come back next time for another great interview on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time.